Hello Cancer friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my video, Cancer December 2020 Astrology Must Knows. We've got a nice list of organized must-knows to go through, but first, two housekeeping points. The first is, this video is for you if Cancer is your moon, Cancer is your sun, Cancer is your rising, or if you watch for any other Cancer placements that you have, okay? This will be a piece of your astrological picture. The second thing is that if you are a late degree placement, so like July 11th through the rest of the sign, or 20 to 29 degrees, and the later in July and the later in degree, the more this is even true, is that I also suggest you watch my Leo video, okay? Because I always take into consideration late degree placements and how things I say might be different for you, but you will get additional pieces if you watch both the Cancer and the Leo videos, because if you cuspy people, you're always on the edge there and you've got multiple things going on at once, okay? So let's go to my handy dandy list here. We've got December 2020 must knows. First most important thing to know is that we are full steam ahead. If you are a Cancer who has had terrible stagnation in your life this year, then you will be happy to know that things will start moving forward, because we've got all the planets moving direct or almost moving direct, everything except the planet Uranus, which will be direct in January. So between all of December and the first half of January, we'll have every planet in the cosmos pretty much that we're looking at. Even some of the star goddesses, most of the star goddesses that we look at are all going to be direct. So this is a momentous time of doing something with all that internal work, all the things that have been going on in the backdrop. It's a time for contracts, for big decisions, for moves, for launches, for weddings, it's just the point of like anything important and long term. You've got this beautiful open window where things can catch up really fast and a lot can happen in a short amount of time. And if the eclipse season and the retrogrades have brought you a lot of things to work with and a lot of uncertainty, now is likely to be a time where the certainty starts to gel, and that's going to feel really good. Okay, so you can see my little equation here. Direct movement of the stars equals forward movement for us. And that is true. So whenever we have, this phenomena where everything's moving direct, you really, really feel it, just as you feel it when it's retrograde, like it's been for this whole year. Okay. The next thing to note is the planetary movements through Sagittarius. Okay. So it's going to bring busyness and scatteredness and, hopefully lots of fun. Sag tends to be a fun energy, but it is in an annoying aspect for Cancers, so it will be overstimulating for you. You'll probably, if things are starting to open up again for events or for small gatherings or whatever, you might be invited to do more things or have to do more things than you really emotionally want to. It's going to draw you out of your literal crab shell more, and that has some awkwardness with it, but it can be refreshing after you get through the awkwardness, even though it can be overwhelming, and you will have to work extra hard to make your sacred space and keep your center. Cancers tend to be empaths. Empaths are people who really, really, really feel the energy of other people, energy fields and their moods and what they have going on. So you're going to be probably having more opportunities for those empathic sensors to be flaring, for better and worse, which again, it doesn't have to be something to fear. It's just a little bit awkward. It's a little bit overwhelming. You will need to have more rest, and you will need to assert and set boundaries to say no to some of the things that are coming to you, because you'll likely have a lot of options, and in your excitement for things opening up, you might overschedule yourself. Okay, so just watch out for that. Now, as the planets move through Sagittarius, they also accentuate the house of pets and animals. If you've been waiting to get a pet or an animal, this is a fantastic time to do that. You have more clarity as to what type of animal you want. You will have more clarity as to what is a perfect match for, a breed of an animal, and you might find your forever friend at this time, okay? And you might have some noteworthy things occur with your pets that you already have. And all of the things that I'm talking about here are also relevant with the eclipse, because the eclipse energy is going to accentuate this space. So know that not only the planets moving through Sagittarius are bringing what I'm talking about now into the forefront, the eclipses are going to bring extra powerful, possibly life-changing events and information in this arena. If you're self-employed, your business could boom. You could have notable things go on. You might end one business, start a new one. If you've been waiting to launch a home-based business, this is an amazing time for that. If you've been trying to figure out where you can make your, step into the new changing economy, you might have options here, okay? The sixth house is a work house. And if you do have your job still, you might get promotions or other notable things that change in your work environment. This is also a health house, so health events can come up that are notable. This is a great time for diagnostics. As far as the stars, of course, if something needs to be seen, sometimes people don't like to deal with that during holiday time. You will still have this great energy for diagnostics in the first couple of weeks of January. So if you feel like you don't want to deal with that just yet, you'll still have that time before Mercury starts to do its retrograde thing again mid-January. But this is a time to get body work, to make an appointment with a nutritionist, to commit to an exercise regimen, to get some new practitioners, like try some new people for goals for your health and your wellness and your stress management. Okay, and stress management is going to be a big topic for you now. Okay, so let's move to the hot date summary here, and we'll catch the eclipse when we go chronologically. So this is a summary of the top hot dates that we're going to talk about for the month. But if you want a complete summary of all the hot dates, all the aspects, whether they're sweet or salty, what to note about them, and a general write-up of the details of what the energy is about this month, delivered into your inbox 1 month early, you'll want to go to anniehelpsyou.com and sign up for my free email newsletter. I don't send out a lot of emails. They're all very content-rich with information to help you with the current stars, okay? And I always send my stuff out early so that you're ready to be prepared for whatever may come. All right, so now let's talk about this December 14th eclipse. And this is going to be at 23 degrees of Sagittarius. As I said before, Sag is in an awkward angle for you, so this could bring some tension and some stress, but know that it is something that wants to seek to put you on track with your highest expression this lifetime. Eclipses occur on the ecliptic, and the nodal movements, the nodes in the chart, are your karma and your dharma, your highest expression and the things that you're working out. And so anything that happens during eclipse time and eclipse cycles is directly related to burning off karma and to getting you on track with your highest expression in a major way. Okay, so sometimes that's uncomfortable, depending on how far off track you are. But the good news is that if you are off track, this eclipse can get you on track. Sometimes eclipses make us say goodbye to things or people that we do not want to say goodbye to. Last December, I had to say goodbye to someone I did not want to say goodbye to, and that could happen. But you can also say hello to people, new experiences. And it's just a time full of possibilities of endings and beginnings, and you're very likely to see this energy in the same sectors that we were talking about with the health and the pets and the work, okay? Now, I've created a very in-depth eclipse series for you to go over all the specifics of what I've seen happen over doing thousands of live readings over decades and doing horoscopes for a very long time, the things that I've seen that happen with the eclipses in each sign and house. I have that in the series. So all Cancer placements look for eclipses in Sagittarius. So if you just put Annie Botticelli eclipses in Sagittarius, you can search for that organically, or you can look at the homepage of my YouTube channel, because that's going to affect everybody. You probably hear it storming like crazy outside. Anyway, you gotta love Florida for really loud weather. So anyways, this next thing to look up is for all Cancers, eclipses in Virgo, because that's going to be in the 6th house. So the Virgo house is the 6th house, so all of you have a chance to have that energy there in that house. Those of you in the later degree placements, so again, like the July, we'll say 9th through the rest of the sign, or 18 to, because we're getting a little of the late middle there, 18 to 29 degrees. I also suggest you watch my eclipses in Leo video, because that eclipse for you is going to either fall in or very near the 5th house. And so this is going to bring extra pieces that could be very relevant for you, okay? 2 other dates to note. December 18th, Mercury moves over the eclipse point. Whenever we have planets move or have contact with that eclipse point, it activates the continuum of the eclipses, so more information is likely to come in around then. December 25th and 26th, Mars will trine the eclipse point. So if there were some challenges that came from the eclipses, hopefully this will help to smooth some things over or bring some silver linings. Also in those dates close to that holiday time, December 24th through December 27th, we've got Mercury and then the Sun making the most favorable aspect in all of astrology with Uranus, the planet of surprises. Okay, so some long-term things can be locked in a major way, and those are going to make nice angles for you, especially as a Cancer. Okay, so they can be very noteworthy. There is, if you look at my little picture here, I've got my happy faces at that time, but there's some little smaller crunkly faces, and that's because there will also be an annoying aspect, the Sun squaring Chiron, that could give you a little knock to your self-esteem or your certainty, but it will likely pass quickly and hopefully will be drowned out by the rest of this nice stuff. All right, before we get to the Jupiter and Saturn connection, I kind of skipped over that. That's going to be on the 21st. I'm going to talk in more detail about that after we go through this chronology, because I have a lot to say about that. It's an epic, rare event. We've got December 29th, the full moon in Cancer. And of course, as a Cancer, this is most important to you. We usually get just one full moon a year. One sign each year gets 2 full moons, but this year you have one. And so fullness, completion, fruition, recognition, something with your physical body, something, anything having to do with your place out in the world, how you see yourself, how you're presenting yourself, your real estate, all is very likely to get intense. We know that full moons are intense for everybody, especially for Cancers. And then full moons in water signs, especially Cancer, tend to be very emotional, but sometimes those emotions can be positive. You can have a blissful family experience or a blissful, where you're honored or recognized or somebody notices you or your work. The closer you are to the 9-degree point, so that's going to be like the end of June, like the end of June born. I mean, really all of the June born in the first few days of July will be most affected by this, but especially the closer you are to the end of June and the very beginning of July, and the closer you are to 9 degrees, if you know your points, which you can look up, run a free birth chart online and see more about what placements your degree, what degree your placement is in, then you'll be more affected by this because it will make more of a direct hit to your Cancer placement. But I want to focus now on this topic of, if Jupiter, the great expander, is moving through Aquarius and it's moving through a certain section of your chart, then what happens when Saturn, the cruncher, the restrictor, the limiter, is also moving through? So the first must know with that is that, yes, Saturn can run a little interference as far as what Jupiter is trying to do. But in this particular sign of Aquarius, I'm not seeing that as much of a troublemaker as it was in Capricorn, because Jupiter is super happy in Aquarius. And when Jupiter is moving through a sign that it's happy in, it can get really carried away. Okay, Jupiter rules excess. And I know a lot about this. I have an astrologer friend who calls me a one-woman Jupiter transit because I have so many placements of Sagittarius in my chart that, like, the epitome of all of the energy of Jupiter in myself, my expression in my life is like very Jupiterian, okay? It can be extremely excessive to a fault, to where it burns itself out, to where it turns into something not great, okay? And so I see Saturn kind of hanging out there. It's like a little babysitter. It's like saying, okay, I see you're happy and you're rambunctious with your new toy of being in a sign that it likes. Here, let's just kind of make that more sustainable, make that more effective, make that more responsible, and have that be more of like a constructive accomplishment. You can also kind of think of this energy like a prescribed burn, when they're trying to clear out some underbrush to protect from wildfire issues in the future. A prescribed burn allows a burn to only get so far so that it can be productive, and then it just cuts it off. So I see this as kind of like a little guardian protector in this case. And so that's exciting. Now, something else to know about this is that Jupiter and Saturn are only in close proximity in the sign of Aquarius for December and January. Then after that, Jupiter just rolls out and leaves Saturn, the old guy, in the dust. It's like, he's like, okay, father time, I'm going to be on with this. And it just kind of races through Aquarius. And then when it does retrograde, it still stays at the later degrees of Aquarius. So it's not going to come back in the very close proximity that we're seeing here in the December-January timeframe. So the most hindrance and the most challenged points of them coming together we're likely to see in the December-January timeframe, but hopefully that will soften over time. And then just kind of see them as like working in cooperation as they're moving through the different areas of your chart, which again, this is going to kind of be staggered. So I'm not that concerned about a lot of negative effects of it. I'm more interested in how there are likely to be positive and supportive effects for the reasons that I mentioned. Okay, so is that, oh yeah, there were two other things I wanted to mention about this. The conjunction that Jupiter and Saturn makes is at 0 degrees. It's right at the beginning of Aquarius. And at that time, we have the planet Pallas Athena right there. And Juno is right there in a 60-degree angle, which is a super positive angle. Okay, so this is speaking to the feminine principle coming into play here in a more notable way. And this is kind of a way of the future. The future is going to have more of this feminine masculine balance. And notice that I'm not saying male or female. It transcends the gender distinction. It's the energy of feminine and masculine within ourselves. It's the energy of feminine and masculine within the society, within the systems. You know, it's just adding more of that balance. So with these two ladies here, you know, kind of supporting this connection, I think it's going to speak to a really nice balance that can also hopefully offset some of the challenge points. And we are in for another wild ride in 2021, I'll be honest with you, but I think the types of changes that will come from the outer planets coming together are more progressive and more have to do with the fact that change is coming and there will be resistance to the change, and that some of the changes that are suggested are not necessarily the best ones, and kind of finding the balance. That's going to be the story of 2021. So if you'd like to have more information about how astrology can help you and how your awareness of the transits can be supportive to everything that you're working on, I have lots of free resources. The free resources are also linked with hyperlinks in the notes below the video. If you click on the more button and the arrow, it's down there. But the first thing to know is you definitely want to go to anniehelpsyou.com, peruse my blog, especially my astrology blog if you're interested in astrology, and sign up for my free email newsletter. That is a definite must do, because that will give you, I don't send out very many emails and they're all very content rich with things that I've created to help you. I don't send out random emails. I send out about 3, no more than 4 emails a month. And they all have, again, links to things that will help you that I've created or that some other people are posting on my blog. So the next thing to note is that you get Shine, my 28-day virtual coaching program, for free when you sign up for my email newsletter. Okay, the second resource is go to lumelife.com, L-U-M-E life.com. That's my school, Luminous Life Multiversity. And this school has some free classes, including a course called Unleash Your Money Magnet, and a couple of wellness classes, including one called Claiming Victory Over Viruses. And then there are also paid courses. Most of my offerings are free, but I do have some paid courses that keep everything going. And one of them is a course called Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course. If you resonate with how I teach and you want to learn, I can help you to do that. My course is so crazy comprehensive. If you think I go into details in the videos and my other resources, you'll be blown away by the amount of magic that you have at your fingertips, whether it's for your personal pursuits and you don't want to do astrology professionally, or for your professional pursuits. The next thing is at cozybysweetstarlight.com. You will see my written horoscopes, which are much more simple and easier to follow. They're less technical. Also a month, I post my videos for the horoscopes 4 to 6 weeks early, and I post my written horoscopes at least a month early. So you'll see those at cozybysweetstarlight.com, plus an ever-growing list of astrology-kissed blogs, ways that you can utilize your knowledge of the stars and syncing up with the natural rhythms. And speaking of syncing up with the natural rhythms of the universe, definitely get my book, Planetology, How to Align with the Natural Rhythms of the Universe. You can get it on Kindle, you can get it on Audible, you can get it in print, and I suggest Audible one might not be out till like the end of let's see, maybe the beginning to end of November. But you can get the print edition ordered now, and I suggest you get Audible and print because it's a long book and you'll want Audible for that. And it's a reference book, a beautiful hardcover reference book, so you'll want that too. Okay, so you can see it on Amazon, you can see it at any major bookseller. Planetology, How to Align with the Natural Rhythms of the Universe. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month.